JB here. Hope I was doing outstanding. December 16th, 2024, 8:58 on this fine Monday. Really quick rant, talk about some of the names I'm looking at, the markets, and go from there. But take a look at the S&P futures in the green here. We'll see how the market performs this week. There's only 10 and a half trading sessions left in 2024. And we are now in the historically strong back half of December. And I'll post that chart in a second. And then as we get closer, we have the Santa Claus rally, 5 days. Typically, it's the last five trading sessions of the year, and then the first two of January. Take a look at the S&P, another tight range on Friday. We did close slightly in the red, but another 0.5% trading range, similar to the one before that, and it continues that trend of tight ranges, which, again, since we're right near all-time highs, I think that bodes well for at least that 610 test on the SPY. So not much else besides the Fed this week. Fed Chair Powell, pretty much a 0.25% cut is almost like a guarantee, and then it's how he spins it at his 2:30 press conference on Wednesday. Now it looks like there's a 60% probability that there's only going to be two rate cuts in 2025. So I think that leaves open a lot of options for the Fed, right? So if inflation really starts rearing its head, they can scale back the cuts, right? But if the jobless claims really start to spike and unemployment rises, then there's opportunity to be a little more aggressive on the rate cut. So it's almost like they're in a Goldilocks situation, at least my opinion. And then, they'll switch the narrative from inflation I was talking about on Friday. Now it's going to be about the tariffs or some other, fear-mongering headline that's going to be used to get clicks and to be discussed as the inflation story starts to dissipate. But here's the chart, and I keep posting in the chat room too, and this is from Ryan Dietrich from X, but just the historically strong performance since 1950 of the markets or the S&P since after post December 15th. So we're December 16th. So we're right in that range there. So 1.48% to the upside. So a good thing. Also keep in mind, folks, so Christmas Eve is a market half session, and then Christmas Day is the markets are off. So keep that in mind. So watching that 604 and change on the SPY, it looks like strong support. We hit that a couple times and then closed at that on Friday. So watching that, if we do get some weakness today and reversal at the open, and then 610 is kind of my target there on the SPY. I've been saying for the last 2.5 weeks or so. Probably the next couple days would be nice to see that hit and then kind of reevaluate things. And then just a little concerning is the yields. So the yields were going in the right direction into December, and now we had this reversal in last week, a monster move up on the 10-year. So want to see that kind of start to get its way down, or then we have, then I get a little concerned here. Last but not least, here's a small caps, just abysmal. So the Nasdaq was up 7.7% last week. The S&P was down. The Dow was down because United Healthcare and other factors, and then small caps were off over 2% last week. So hopefully it can reverse some course here. All right, so now individual names. Well, first I'll talk really quick about gold too. Actually opened an overnight session in the red as reverse course. It's up about 0.2%. I keep saying at some point there's going to be like a 3-4% plus downside move on gold. And then over the weekend, Michael Saylor, he's always doing interviews, but saying that the U.S. should sell all its gold and buy all Bitcoin, right? And, crazy stuff. And they say that, eventually all that the assets will come to zero. I don't know. Again, my argument, a lot of it is just that the store of value argument, right? It's always been an issue, but I think, as the prevalence of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, all that kind of changed that story. I don't think it's baked in. Not only that, gold's up so much this year. So I think there's an opportunity to 2025. And then in regards to Bitcoin, gosh, I remember 2013, 2012, everybody was talking about was $800 and people saying it was going to 20,000. Everybody thought they were nuts, right? Then it's 2,000. Everybody starts saying it's going to 100,000. It goes up to 18,000. And then people, oh, wow. And then it goes back down and say, oh, I told you so. It's garbage going to zero. I mean, Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase, he had famous last words talking, never going to invest. It's garbage, blah, 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 and had to wind up eating his words. But my point is that there's crazy targets now that's over 100,000. That's going to go to 500. That's going to go to 1 million. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's just funny how it works as it continues to climb. It's almost like the price becomes more normalized. So now people used to looking at crypto or Bitcoin and saying, wow, 100,000 seems somewhat normal. So at some point, there's going to be a pull. We're going to wake up one day, and it's going to be 7%, 10% to the downside, and people are going to say, I told you so. MicroStrategy is a big Ponzi scheme. And then years from now, it'll be above where it is. All right, so that's gold. And then I put on a watch list too. It's like I've already got my GLD put, so I'm finally going to get some minor positions. And if gold breaks $2,600, dust is going to be 80 plus at least. So I keep saying this analogy over the last 2 weeks, or saying, buy when it's cold and sell when it's piping hot. Dust is definitely cold right now, so don't be surprised if I had some strikes. All right, so now individual names. So a rough week last week, obviously because the small caps took it on the chin. So a lot of names I'm in are in small caps. Hopefully we get a reversal here this week and to start back to the upside. Clear Secure, you had Needham reiterating their buy rating, $45 price target this morning. Hopefully the kick it needs. Still has a tight Bollinger Band set up. Once it starts going, I think it's off to $30 in a flash, 32 plus easy. Premiums have come down, so I might look for some more strikes on that as well. Peloton, T-Doc, JOBY, all in the green yesterday, but gonna need these to start moving in the right direction as well. Peloton, that big handle at 1040, need that to break in the next day or two. Well, hopefully this week, and then head on in the right direction. Teldoc would like to see it reclaim its 200-day moving average, held to 50 on Friday, and then reversed into the green. So a good sign there. Maybe it's a start of reversal. You talk about, tax loss selling. So you have folks who take positions that they have at losses, sell them. So if they had Teldoc at $50 or whatever years ago, and then they sell it, they have net losses that they can use to offset profits, and then they can profitable positions. That's like the tax loss selling. So Teldoc's a name that might be oversold over the last couple of weeks as people start to use that. And then now you'll have buyers come in and say, well, I like Teladoc at these oversold positions. I think it's headed to $20-$30. And now there's an opportunity here at the end of the year. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these names start to reverse just on that premise. So that's Teladoc. Disappointing week for Square as well. I mean, it looked ready to break midweek over that 100 handle. Couldn't do it. Then the last two sessions to the downside. Got to do it here this week. And I think once it breaks 100, it's FOMO up to 110 plus. SSYS gave back the gains from Thursday, down 6% on Friday. Was still up 5% on a week. Had plenty of time on my calls. There's news this morning. I don't even know if it's market making news, just a partnership announcement. I think 1250 plus comes in the coming weeks. I'll wait. Typically, like I don't average down on calls. That's just not my trading strategy. My strategy would be to go get later dated strikes, things like that. If I do look to get more on SSYS, but for now, I'll just hold. Roku in the green on Friday as well. It's just a matter of time before it's over $90. It's just taking its time here. Hopefully, another analyst comes out and gives it a little kick in the butt, or some other catalyst would be nice. I was writing at Baidu on Friday. I mean, it's up 3 sessions in a row coming into this week, and then China markets were down overnight. I was hoping for some kind of positive China news to come out. Seems to always come out over the weekend. There's other reports. There's, I wouldn't say riots. What is there? Public discourse based on some of the financial conditions in China now. So I think that's just going to force their hand to come out with some major bazooka financial stimulus news. Looks like they've tried to do it back in September, tried to do it back in July. One of these times they do it and it sticks. And hopefully I'm in the calls when they do it. Hopefully it comes in the coming days. There's JOBY. I'm still looking at TripAdvisor and Travelzoo. I keep saying about Trip that probably going to try and get something into earnings, because there'll be some update in regards to their strategic alternatives that they announced. Quantum computing names I keep looking at, but they've not saying I don't want to chase the names, but on a fundamental basis, I mean, it's tough to chase names that up so much. Number one. Number two, I haven't really had time to dig into them. So I've been trying to do my research for my top 5 stocks for 2025. So hopefully I'll get some time to do that. But the other thing is they're volatile. So already the premiums are elevated on the calls and puts, which makes it tough to get in or expensive to get in. And then, if it goes the wrong direction, or even if it stays flat, you're already down. So for me, I'd rather, instead of trying to, get into the hype, I'll just probably sit on my hands on those names. That's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.